Hey everybody, I'm back. Stone cold truth. Remember, we get nothing but the truth here. Nothing but the truth here. Nothing but the truth. We deliver stone cold truth. I want to talk about COVID-19. I want to talk about who it's affecting and how it's affecting them. This virus has the greatest impact on black and brown peoples. Blacks are making up roughly 60% of the COVID-19 deaths. And we're also making up the majority of the lost wages. The financial impact of this is hitting us harder than anybody. So I got to thinking, why? Why is that? The health experts have been saying it's because African Americans tend to have higher incidence of high blood pressure and diabetes and health issues, and we don't eat right, and we don't exercise, we don't do anything. They're calling us lazy, folks. All y'all lazy niggas sitting around on welfare, y'all laziness is why y'all the ones getting sick. That's what these white folks want you to believe. I know better. The reason we are affected the most by this virus is because the hospitals in our neighborhoods are absolutely, totally inadequate. The hospitals in black neighborhoods look like third world nations. Third world countries is what black hospitals look like. I urge you, go into the hospitals in black neighborhoods in Los Angeles or San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Miami, you look at any of these places. Any of these places. And I can prove it to you. I was in Jackson Memorial Hospital. Jackson Memorial Hospital still has carpet in the waiting room. Carpet. The thing that holds more bacteria than clothing. These places are a disgrace. And they're a disgrace. They will say it's because, oh, it's mismanagement. The black people don't know how to manage it. But you have to ask yourself, when your funding gets cut every year, right now, hospitals in black communities are operating on a budget that rivals the budgets in the late 70s, early 80s. Every other hospital has had their budgets going up. Ours are going down. Why? Why? We typically have higher incidence of violence. The trauma centers in our neighborhoods are very busy. So you're defunding the place where the need is the greatest? Sounds like schools. Oh, the schools that are doing better gets more money. The schools that are struggling, we cut their funds. You got to earn the fund. But I thought the places that were struggling needed the funds the most so they can bring their level up. Who doesn't want those levels brought up? Is it us? No, of course not. It's our neighborhoods, our communities. We want that level raised. We want better schools. What, you think white people are the only ones that want good schools for their kids? You think white people are the only ones that want adequate health care for their families? You think white people are the only ones that deserve adequate housing? Why is it that whenever people talk about empowering black people, white people think that means welfare. That's not welfare. That's equally dividing those funds for the people who need it. What's wrong with equality? Everybody preaches equality, but when it comes time to put your money where your mouth is, all of a sudden the funds dry up. They dry up. Look at what happened in Mississippi. Federal funds that were meant for struggling families was stolen by politicians and bureaucrats. It was stolen. More than $90 million going to buying cars for themselves, entertaining friends, trips. Oh my God, it is amazing. It is amazing. What do you think is going to happen to those people? You know what's going to happen to those people. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. They'll say, oh, we'll pay the money back. And they'll be given 10 or 15 years to pay it all back. Meanwhile, those families that needed that money, they're still going to go without it. They're still going to go without it. You know why? Because white people look at public aid as a transfer of wealth. They think all their tax money is going to go to these poor black people. But again, I ask you, what has black people ever been at the front of the line for? This country spends nearly $1 billion a year on welfare. Black people make up 15% of this country. If they gave every black person in America welfare, we would be getting a check of like $10,000 a month. That money is not coming to black people. That money is going to white people in places like rural Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas, all these way out the way places, West Virginia. West Virginia and Kentucky have the highest percentage of welfare in the country, but the lowest percentage of black people in the country. So you tell me who's getting all that money. White people. White people. They don't give black people shit. When I lost my job 8 or 9 years ago, when I applied for unemployment, I was turned down. My wife said to me, no, baby, you can't tell the truth on those forms. You have to tell a lie on those forms to get it. So that's what I want to come to. Only in America is a lie more palatable than the truth. Only in America can you get what you need by lying instead of telling the truth. The truth gets you nothing. I told my wife, I'm not going to lie. If I don't get it, I don't get it. But I'm not going to lie because, well, lying on a government form is a felony. Who do you think they're going to enforce that against the most? Of course. That's why we make up 70% of the jails. They come after us for everything first. The only thing we're at the front of the line of is incarceration. That is the only thing they put us at the front of the line for. This country was built on slavery and mass incarceration. Did you know that most states have privatized the prisons? These prisons get money from the government for keeping their census high. Think about that. Think about that. They have incentivized incarcerating people. Let that sink in for a second. You cut funding to the schools in black neighborhoods. You cut funding to parks and recreation in black neighborhoods. You cut public transportation in black neighborhoods. You cut every funding for anything for people to better themselves. And you wonder why the crime rate is high. People can't get ahead. That's why they have to lie on government forms and steal and rob and kill. You would just say these are bad people. But the majority of these people are just trying to feed their families. Nearly 70% of the black women that are incarcerated for larceny. Larceny. Stealing to feed their children. Stealing is wrong. We all know it. Our parents taught us that. But when is the government going to stop stealing from us? Mississippi stole funds that would have prevented many black mothers and white mothers from stealing to feed their families, prostituting themselves, selling drugs, robbing people. All of these things are a function of poverty, desperation. When are we going to see that? But they do see it. I want you to think back, my older brothers and sisters. The younger ones probably don't remember the crack epidemic back in the 80s. The late 70s was heroin, the 80s was crack. The younger folks don't remember that. The government had a solution for the crack epidemic. It was called mass incarceration. But we have a new scourge upon this country now. Legal drugs, painkillers, Oxycontin, oxycodone, Percocets. The proliferation of these drugs was done legally by doctors prescribed to white people all across this country. And they hooked on it now, buddy. Oh, they hooked, baby. They out there robbing and stealing and prostituting and everything. Oh, but now since it's them, it's a public health issue now. Oh, we can't lock these people up. We need to get them help. I say lock all them crackers up. Lock them all up. You've incentivized incarceration. There's your customers. Why would you focus on 15% of the population when you have a much larger demographic that you can pull from? You know why? They ain't gonna lock their own child up. Little Tommy and little Filbert. No. We can't lock them up. Them Negroes in there will kill them. Those Negroes in prison will kill the white people. Meanwhile, the white people outside of prison is killing the Negroes. Imagine that. Imagine that. I'm done, folks. God bless. Happy Mother's Day. And say a prayer for the Arbery family. They need to be held up right now. The same thing that so many of us have had to go through. I've been lucky, been blessed. I haven't had to deal with that part in my family, other than a harassment. You know, the police have never killed my family member, or no fools out there have killed my family members like that. So we need to hold them up in prayer. And not just prayer. Real support. Real support. Material support. Financial. We need to give them a shoulder to lean on and an ear to listen to them. We need to give them space to air their grievances, because they'll tell you to be humble, but people forget what humility truly looks like. Humility doesn't hold his head down. Humble holds his head up. There ain't nothing on the ground for you, my brother. There ain't nothing on the ground for you. Keep your head up. Keep your chin out and your chest out. Don't never, ever, ever hold your head down for them. You are the sons and daughters of kings and emperors. Don't ever let them tell you any different. You have royal blood coursing through your veins. Act like it. Act like it. Stop looking at the ground. There ain't nothing for you. Stop dancing around smiling on TV for them white people. If they can't listen to you when you talking directly to them, you don't have to do no tap dance for them to listen to you. Your words are just as important as anybody else's. So God bless, and never forget it. Take care. Stone Cold Truth.